Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Switch Statement Podcast. It's a podcast for investigations into miscellaneous tech topics.
This is our fourth episode on Elon Musk by Walter Isaacson.
Hey, John. How are you doing?
Hey, Matt, I'm doing good. How are you?
I am excited to start the week. We're recording on a Monday.
Yeah, dude, this is a new thing. Usually we do Fridays, so this is feels different.
We've been playing jazz with it, which generally that doesn't work with my personality. I
don't know jazz.
You make a plan, you never modify it under any circumstance. That is this podcast in a nutshell, where we just happened to decide 3 years ago that we were gonna just record, read a book, record bi-weekly or basically weekly.
Yeah. And we've just
and
stuck
neither
with it.
one of us is going to change that plan.
Yeah,
unless we had to save a baby kitten from a burning building.
Right. Yeah, there's things that would trump
cause us
it.
to, but very few. It's finite. So we're talking about the founding of Tesla. We've been teased about Elon's interest in electric cars for a while.
Yeah, he's reading white papers about batteries in college.
And this is something that still is so surprising to me because is just the fact that SpaceX was the thing. That was the thing first.
Yeah, I don't know if we've mentioned this, but I didn't even realize that SpaceX was before Tesla.
Right.
I didn't know that.
From a cultural awareness thing, I think very few people were aware of what Elon Musk was doing with SpaceX.
Yeah. Totally. At least I wasn't, which is kind of doubly...
Except for Robert Downey Jr., I guess.
Right. Yeah, which I guess Musk had a cameo in one of the Iron Mans. I don't remember.
Yeah, Iron Man 2, I guess.
It's funny. But it's kind of doubly crazy because of what we're going to talk about in this episode. There was crazy stuff happening with SpaceX, and it was just flying under the radar.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, literally. But anyway, this chapter starts with sort of the founding of Tesla, or at least, gathering the team. They introduced this guy named J.B. Straubel, who's a really...
Straubel.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm saying any of these names correctly, but it sounds like an interesting guy. His face was scarred when he blew up some hydrogen peroxide as a kid, which, that's a good part of your story if you're going to make crazy electric cars and change stuff.
Sounds like exactly the kind of person that Elon Musk would want.
Yep, exactly.
Not too concerned about safety holding him back.
And he had a lot of really interesting ideas. He made an electric Porsche. He thought that lithium-ion batteries could work really well. So he was kind of an innovator in this space, had a lot of interesting ideas. They talk about this other guy who sounds really cool. His name is Tom Gage, and he has this company called AC Propulsion. And at one point, he meets Musk. Maybe JB introduces him. I can't remember. But this is these group kind of all know each other. And this is
something that was at this point in the book, it's it all feels very vague. There's a lot of little groups that are electric cars. And I have an engine and I want to do this thing. And so there's three groups that kind of coalesce to form. And Elon kind of serves as the catalyzing factor for that.
Yeah, he was moving amongst them. And actually, it's interesting you say that because this Tom Gage guy is a perfect example. He had this Roadster, and it was amazing. It had this AC propulsion engine in it, and it was ultra fast, and Elon loved it. But Elon could sort of tell immediately that he wasn't going to productionize it. That just wasn't his interest. He was much more interested in, the engine and, all that stuff. And so Musk realized, I gotta do this myself, where I have to find someone else who can, basically take this technology and productionize it. And Tom Gage actually points Elon, this whole thing continues where Elon goes from place to place. Tom Gage points him to these two guys, Eberhard and Tarpenning, who are the founders of Tesla. These guys actually, own Tesla. They're trying to kick this car company off. But they're very much in the beginning stages. But their interest is in productionizing an actual car. So I think once Musk partners with these guys, he realizes, okay, we can actually do this.
But he didn't have any real-world experience with producing a car. Eberhard had worked on the predecessor to Kindle, an ebook.
Exactly.
So needless to say, he didn't have this deep well of personal experience in the domain.
Exactly. But they do convince Musk to join up, and they desperately need money, and Musk is this Mr. Moneybags. So they convince him to join up as chairman and provide $6 million of funding. And Musk grabs this other guy, Straubel, who he had met, in order to... I think Straubel ended up being the lead engineer.
Yeah.
But just be a valued member of the team in general. And then, they go on to basically try to make this productionized electric vehicle. Musk has this rule that he kind of learned from SpaceX where he wants to develop all of the key components in-house.
Yeah.
Instead of going through the usual method of like procuring them throughout the world and shipping them to a big factory and assembling them. They contract with Lotus, which is a car company, to get the body of this vehicle. And so what they have is they have a Lotus body, they have this AC propulsion drivetrain, and then they have a bunch of other custom parts. And they assemble this thing called the Mule, which I don't know if this is just like an industry term for like the first, non-assembly line version of a car. It's kind of like the model.
I think of it as kind of a Frankenstein, right? It's like it's a combination of a horse and a donkey. That's what I took away from it. It's this unholy communion,
patchwork of just random shit. But evidently, this Mule is awesome. Like it kind of achieves this dream of being this utterly fast electric vehicle, and so Musk invests $9 million more. There's a little bit of tension even early on in the leadership team. The leadership team is huge.
Yeah, 5 people are all considered co-founders, basically.
Yeah, which is awesome. I mean, I love a big team, but it also just immediately struck me as like that seems like a lot of cooks in the kitchen. And, the minute you have a couple egos in there, I feel like it just starts to go awry, and that's sort of what happens.
It really makes me think about Math Chops' decision-making process.
Yeah, terrible.
No, I don't think it's terrible. We've just never had anything even closely approximating the sort of disagreements that we see happening day to day.
Dude, I did not realize this at the time that we founded Math Chops, but our personalities are just not what a normal founder's personality would be.
Yeah.
I just don't think we have that, I want to say ego. I mean, obviously we have egos and we want to build stuff and we work super hard, but we just don't really butt heads. I feel like we approach conflict in a completely different way.
I think the reason our system works is because we have an odd number of people, and there's basically never a scenario where someone believes something so strongly that if the other 2 people believed something else, that they would still cling to that opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we also are disagree and commit type people. I know there's been things in the past that, there were disagreements in the past, but we just sort of were like, nope, we're picking this and we're running with it. And I think all 3 of us are sort of like that.
I also think Mike he just asks questions. There's a disagreement and he doesn't come at it head on. He just asks questions and he kind of disarms this conflict mode, which I've always found really impressive about him.
Love Mike. He's amazing. But anyway, the Tesla team is not like the Math Chops team. So Eberhard and Martin Wright, 2 of the initial founding members, they're both acting like alphas. They both have a ton of tension and they have these disagreements which aren't working out. And they basically both go behind each other's backs to Musk, trying to get the other one kicked out of the company. Yeah. And Eberhard wins. And they kick this Martin Wright guy out of the company. He just gets tossed. Kind of like Musk did from that PayPal X situation.
Eberhard's first name was Martin. Ian Wright.
Okay, Ian Wright. Sorry. Yeah, So Martin Eberhard.
Martin Eberhard, yeah.
We should have an email, by the way, where people can just email us.
We have an email. We don't have a Switch statement email, but team at THKP.
Team at THKP. So yeah, if you hear us making a mistake, or if you just want to make fun of us, email us.
Or you want to shower us with a tremendous surfeit of praise.
That'd be nice. I just can't see that happening. So I'll take whatever I can get. Team at THKP.
We're growing exponentially. Everybody loves us.
.com or what did you say? .com?
.co, right? Oh, did I say .com?
Oh, no, you probably said the right thing.
Team at thkp.co.
Team at thkp.co. Okay. Martin Eberhard pushes out Ian Wright because they were having tension and there's too many alphas in the room. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is starting to exhibit his leadership style, some of the good aspects, some of the bad aspects. He's basically making all of these changes in the design of the vehicle. And this is a huge problem. One of the reasons they picked the Lotus chassis is because it had been crash tested. It was sort of a tried and true design. But Elon's changing so many things that they have to like re-crash test it, which is this huge additional cost. And he just keeps like harping on little tiny details that other people don't think matter. One of them was the handles. You know, he wants these crazy new handles that operate in a way that no one's ever seen.
It's funny because I think the handle of the Tesla is easily the worst part of the car, frankly.
Agree. I hate
it. Should have just had a normal handle. And I 100% agree with Eberhard here, where no one is not buying the car because it doesn't have some futuristic handle. I do happen to agree things like the door. Like I looked at the Lotus, and it's hilarious. Like the tiny postage stamp of a door.
Oh yes. I completely agree with that sort of thing. I think, and this is one of the things about Musk is I feel like he's just this chaos monster, and he's right about some things and he's wrong about some things, and it's hard to like look at him after the fact and sort of know which of these things made Tesla successful, or it's like, was he contributing or was he just annoying everyone with these stupid design changes that didn't make any sense? And I think it was both. I think it's just this complex situation.
And this is something that he gets into in the forthcoming Justine chapter. Yeah. But it's impossible to disentangle because he's making foundational calls about building the team.
Yeah.
You can't take away the like nitpicky decisions without also kind of throwing out the foundational team building function that he's performing.
Right. It's all one package.
So
there's more conflict. Musk and Eberhard start having some tension between them because Eberhard keeps getting all this press, being the founder of Tesla. And I
thought this was so funny.
I thought it was funny too, and I actually kind of found myself sympathizing with Elon a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he just kind of gets left out of the narrative. Like there's all this great press about Eberhard, like, oh, he's this, genius founder of this crazy innovative company. No one mentions Musk. When they do mention him, they like offhandedly mention him as though he's some shadowy figure in the background, just like throwing money at the problem. That's just not true at all. Like he was like boots on the ground in the thick of it, making stupid design decisions.
This is another facet of Eberhard is doing things in a traditional way. And it's like, in a traditional company, you have the founder and CTO and what have you, and they're the ones who are making the decisions. And then you have an investor who's in much more of an advisory role. And you wouldn't be like, oh, like this investor, this angel investor, like the founders of companies aren't generally talking about their angel investors on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But that's more like you're running this traditional playbook. But the reality of the situation was Elon had a much more profound impact than traditional investors do. So Elon is like, you're getting too caught up in these labels and you're ignoring the fact that I had a tremendous amount of extremely important input into this product, and you're not acknowledging that fact in your communications.
Exactly. Yeah. And so he's kind of rightfully starting to get annoyed at Eberhard. Yeah. Question for you. So we're about to switch gears again and sort of go back and discuss SpaceX. I'm actually wondering if we should call the episode here and basically split.
Let me propose an alternative, which is maybe we talk about the SWAT team. make this the Tesla episode, and then we'll switch back. Next episode is going to be all about SpaceX.
Yeah, let's do it. So we're going to break the chronology here slightly. One of the things I love about this book, by the way, which I'm really digging this book. I don't know how you feel about it.
Oh, yeah. I finished my reading in advance, and I was like, I kind of just want to keep on reading it.
Same, dude. I mean, like Gödel Escher Bach, super hard to read. I really loved it, but it was just so hard to read. Like, it felt like I was in college
You were reading
again.
a textbook. It felt, like I had to do homework for a class.
Yeah, but this is just like a pleasure to read. So I highly recommend, people read this book. But yeah, in any case, we're skipping a little bit of chronology, and we're entering this SWAT team chapter, which essentially starts off with Tesla having a horrendous productionization story.
This follows exactly from what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Musk is making all of these requests, all of these changes, and then the team comes back and it's like, this car is costing like 3 times as much as we had initially projected that it would. And then Elon is like, that's outrageous. Like, how could this possibly be?
Yeah. He hoisted by his own petard and doesn't even realize it.
So he has to fix this problem. And this is where we get the name of the chapter, which is the SWAT team.
Yeah. So introducing these two dudes, Antonio Gracias and David Sachs. I was very tempted to say David Gracias and Antonio Sachs, but no, I said the real names first. But Antonio is kind of this genius. Like, as they were describing this guy, I was like, damn, this is like one of the most impressive people I've ever read about.
Yeah.
He basically, starting from a super young age, he just has this natural ability to like go into an operation and make it super efficient, save a bunch of money. One of the things he does is he like will talk directly to the workers.
Yes.
In order to learn what the real issues are, and he just has this innate sense of like, oh, that's the real issue. You can fix it in this way. And so I want to say from his teens, he was like basically starting these companies or finding existing companies and sort of like making them way more efficient and able to like create revenue. And so he had a ton of experience optimizing factory floors or supply chains and things like that.
This one little thing I found interesting was he went to law school and then he got bored. So he was like, and this is kind of the point at which he's doing what you're talking about, where they're acquiring these floundering manufacturing businesses. They're going in, they're talking to the people with the boots on the ground, and the people who are actually doing the manufacturing, they have a ton of fantastic ideas to optimize the production, which apparently the management is just like they think they know everything.
Yeah.
And there's so much kind of tribal knowledge. And they didn't make it easy enough for the people to surface this wisdom upward.
Right. Yeah, and he just does that, and it's kind of this innovation. And I was looking for this quote earlier in my notes. He is all about the machine that builds the machine, which I just sort of like that quote. But it speaks to his understanding that, like, hey, if you optimize this factory, the factory itself, then you'll kind of optimize the end result.
Yeah, and that's what we got to do at Math Chops. Create the machine that writes the code.
Hell yeah. So him and Musk are out partying, and how did they get connected with this party?
They went to Las Vegas to celebrate Sachs's 30th birthday.
Okay, but how did they all know each other?
It was through PayPal.
Through PayPal. Okay,
so
awesome.
Sachs went on to be a co-founder of PayPal with Musk.
Yeah. So there's just a funny anecdote where Musk and this Gracias guy partying in Vegas, some dude vomits in like a driver's car, and Musk and Gracias help clean up the car. Like they stop at a gas station, they get some cleaning stuff, and they just help him. Because there's this feeling of like correctness that they just can't let, they can't let this poor driver have to deal with this vomit in his car. They clean it up, which I thought was
This broke my brain. Like, it just feels like so out of left field for Elon Musk. Like, you've got him in all these contexts just being completely ruthless.
Yeah.
But then, like, someone vomits in the car, and then he's like, oh, okay, well, we got to stay behind. And it's like, it's definitely humanizing.
Yeah. Well, I liked how Isaacson described it, because it almost came from this deep sense of like justice that I think we've witnessed in Musk before. And I don't even know if it was kindness. Well, obviously no one knows why he did what he did, but I would theorize that it wasn't necessarily like kindness that made him want to clean that vomit. It was this sense of like, it's unfair
Yeah.
that he should clean it, therefore like we should do it. But anyway, it's maybe weird to conjecture about that. I just thought it was an interesting anecdote.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because I had that written down. But so we learn that Antonio Gracias starts going over the numbers. And first off, like Eberhard, the CEO of Tesla, he doesn't even have a list of all the parts in the car, which like that's like a negligence thing. It's like,
I agree. It's weird.
After this guy goes in and like runs the numbers, he's like, this is going to cost over $140,000 to make this car, maybe 120, and they're going to be selling it for 100K. And so it's like, those numbers just don't work out. So they kind of realize like this Eberhard guy, he's got to go.
Exactly. Yeah. So then they basically start pushing Eberhard out. They have this, Eberhard has this nice dinner with Musk where they're sort of cordially discussing Eberhard moving on. But what happens is after this cordial discussion, they kind of oust him. You know, like from Eberhard's point of view, it seems like things are going to happen in this orderly fashion. But then all of a sudden he like, you know, sees an email or something and he's just out of the company. They go through this search to try to find a new CEO, and it's very difficult because Tesla is in such rough shape that no one wants to be CEO. I mean, it's basically like this failing company at this point. So there's this guy named Marx who became the interim CEO, but I guess him and Musk didn't really get along that well. They find this Israeli paratrooper guy, which I thought was interesting.
Before we move on, like I don't want to move past, they call this section Michael Marx and the asshole question. He just sounds like he is a really nice guy, but he's not a pushover. There's this disagreement that between Musk and Marx where Musk has these overly optimistic production timelines. So he's ordering a bunch of this stuff, which is just sitting unused. And it's like, why are we spending our money? So he cancels these orders because it's like, this doesn't make any sense. And so like, that's an example. Like he's able to be decisive, but he's also not an asshole.
Right.
And
he sounds lovely.
Yeah. He sounds like the kind of guy I would like to work for. And he gives me a little bit of hope that there's someone who can, because he was like, I was the leader of a $25 billion company. Like I'm not just some random idiot.
Yeah, he's no slouch.
So anyway, I thought it was just interesting that other people are grappling with that same question we were grappling with in an earlier episode, which is like, to what extent is it possible to, you know, not be an asshole, but still achieve great things?
100%. Yeah, and I think this guy is a good example of that. He, you know, I think for every Musk that like becomes famous and is this crazy figure in our history, there's probably like 100 of these Marx dudes who are just like quiet, really, really, you know, good, nice to their people, and build healthy companies. So
yeah,
maybe we should, maybe history should focus on these people a little more because I feel like they're just better role models.
Yeah.
But in any case, Musk kicks them out because they have disagreements.
Well, he leaves. He said he treated me like a child, and I'm not a child. So he, like, I don't think Musk threw him out. I think he was like, "Fuck this."
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So, and then they bring in this Israeli paratrooper guy, but I guess this Israeli paratrooper guy didn't really know anything about cars, and so everyone was like, "Who is this guy? Like, this doesn't make any sense." So he eventually gets canned, and Musk becomes the CEO of Tesla. One last thing I did want to talk about, I just completely skipped over this. Musk and Eberhard, they like basically end up hating each other.
Yeah.
And there's this section where Musk was like accusing him of being a liar, which I thought was interesting. Like, and I kind of agree that Eberhard didn't have his shit together. Like the fact that he didn't have a parts list. He also evidently could not answer simple questions about cost. Like that cost that you mentioned, 140,000, like he just had no idea. He thought it was like going to be 70,000.
Yeah.
And so these basic questions about the business, he just didn't know the answer to, which I think speaks to his poorness as a CEO. But it doesn't seem like he was dishonest. It just seems like he made mistakes and, you know, didn't know things he should. When Isaacson was interviewing Musk about this recently, when he was writing this book, there was still just a ton of vitriol.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it's just kind of surprising. Like, I guess they really, really don't like each other. And Musk
it got to the point where Eberhard sued him for libel.
Right. Yeah. So, I don't know. Just that's another interesting facet of Musk's personality. I think he really got it in his head that this Eberhard guy was horrible and ruining his life, and just kind of sad.
Yeah. All right. Well, so maybe it makes sense for us to wrap it there, and then we'll pop back, and then I know I introduced the some of his romantic endeavors, but maybe we'll touch on that in our next episode.
I like that. I think that makes sense. Let's do it.
All right. Well, I will see you next time, John.
See you next time.